Testing 1, 2. We are live. How's everybody doing? Kind of been a lull for the last week and a half in Splinterlands. They've changed over to the every other week town hall format, which I thought was a good thing. But I do think that maybe they should put out some information in between as to, what they're doing along the way, because I feel like there's been this culmination of, what's happening in the United States in the crypto market and what's happening online, and everything's being very bearish, in my opinion. Prices are going down across the board. I mean, some stuff in cards is actually rebounding, but land price continues to go down. And overall, I think there's just like this lull of inactivity. I have not been doing a whole lot in Splinterlands over the last week. However, I have been keeping an eye on the land market, and I'm very tempted because there are some pieces of land in 133 that have become available, and I've been very tempted by the price point. But overall, I haven't done any buying in Splinterlands this week. So that's where I stand there. I think this show today is going to be very open. If you have something you want to talk about, we can go ahead and talk about it, as long as it's Splinterlands, Splinterforge related, possibly Golem Overlord or Terracore if you're interested in that. I figured that we would go and start off on Peak Monsters today. Let's go ahead and do a refresh and just look at what's been happening in Splinterlands. So if you have something you want to talk about, go ahead and speak up. But like I said earlier, there's been kind of a lull, and maybe it's just me. Hey, Alex. Maybe it's just me, but I've not really been doing a whole lot of purchasing in Splinterlands over the last couple weeks due to all the activity as far as I'm really speaking about the bearish type market that we're in. And it's not necessarily I love the game, I love collecting cards and everything. It's just I'm at a point where there's so many things to buy and so many things to put money into. Hey, Gathering the Magic, good morning. How are you doing today? Been keeping up with your videos. Everything looks like it's going well. I was just starting off by looking at, what Splinterlands has been doing over this last week, and kind of talking about how there's kind of, maybe it's in my mind, but I think there's kind of a lull going on due to the culmination of, what's happening in the markets and what's happening in game, or what's not happening. It just seems like things have slowed down. Maybe it's because there was no town hall this week. I don't think there needs to be a town hall every week, but I do think that maybe there needs to be a little bit of a feed of information coming out, as far as what's going on and everything. Gathering says, new drops on survival mode and hero leveling skills for Splinterforge. Uploading a video. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I still play Splinterforge on a daily basis. In fact, I've got 2 accounts going. One's on the silver boss and one's on the bronze boss. And I keep those going. Have not made any moves this week due to the fact that I made some major moves last week and bought equipment. But I'm standing at 54 in silver, and I don't even think I'm placed in bronze, but if so, just very low. So that's where I stand right now. I'm looking forward to the new leveling and skills. I've got plenty of points saved up to do whatever. So I'm looking forward to the information on that new video. Just thought we'd start this off since we didn't really have a town hall to go off of this week. Just kind of look at the metrics as far as what Splinterlands has been doing lately. We can see that we're sorted by the month, and by the month it just kind of looks average as far as transaction numbers go. But if we zoom out to 6 months, we can see that the average number of daily transactions has went way down. In fact, it's like a third or a quarter of what it was in January. Gathering says, been playing less and less Splinterlands, almost have all the cards I need for my bronze account. Now I can focus on buying older cards. Yeah, I mean, I had mentioned earlier, when we first started off, I haven't really bought anything in Splinterlands this week. Hey, Supreme Victory Network, he says, or she says, I just continued to buy packs from the Forge I received. Need that airdrop. Yeah, that would be nice. I have, as far as on Splinterforge, I have not bought any. I just buy my items off the market. I haven't been doing any combining or anything like that. As far as in Splinterlands, the price of packs is so very tempting. I mean, let me check what they are today, but they were around $1.20 yesterday. Let's look at other items. They're up a little bit, $1.33. And on secondary markets, they're a little bit cheaper if you want to. But that's still very tempting, considering I think you still get around $1.25, $1.50 worth of value on average out of packs. Of course, once in a while you get lucky. I've been opening packs that I received in chests, and I got a couple at the end of season this last week. So nothing exciting though, but they generally overall lately I've been putting the cards towards strengthening up my secondary account. Gathering says, now that I know how much Forge is required for adventure mode, I'm going to be buying crates, bags like crazy. Okay, I'm looking forward to your summation video as far as what's going on, because I do not have that information currently. It should be interesting. I'm all for adding new things to the games, as long as they bring value to the game and not just cost extra money. It's always good to bring the game along a little bit. So yeah, so $1.33, it's up a little bit. I see that Rift Watchers packs are up over $4. Yesterday and the day before, they were down around $3.50. Very tempting. Just looking at the other packs, yeah, these have kind of stayed stable. But back to my original point, the Chaos Legion pack under $2, it's just always been very tempting, and I think that a lot of people are dumping and losing money. Especially this one person, I don't know who this is, Andromit, seems to always be on here with a lot of packs for sale. Crypto Eater is another familiar name. These people, keep in mind that these packs were most likely bought in the $4 range, $3 to $4 range. And these people are dumping out, and I just don't know how you could take that much of a loss. But it's all under the mindset of, hey, I just need to take this out, and either they're getting out of the game or they're taking and putting it somewhere else. So, hey, the Junie, thanks for stopping by. Splinterlands is all ROI at this point, and the skill to accumulate ROI is what matters now. Seeking ROI is hard to be passionate about, which is why the passion in Splinterlands has gone away. I agree. I've always approached this as a card game because that's what I like. I like cards and buying, selling, collecting. I never really approached this. I liked the fact it is attractive being online and being able to use it somewhat as an investment device. However, I've never approached it that way, and I've been very clear about that because I know that you can, in this kind of atmosphere, you can lose lots of money really fast. And with that said, I'm not a great guy to talk about investments. I do agree that people got in, and it looks to me from the amount of people that are dumping packs, which were treated like a big investment, dumping lands, people who bought large tracts of lands and stuff like that, are dumping individual plots, are shifting their assets. Either they're getting out of the game or they're shifting their money with a lot of loss to something else. So that's very clear. I, on the other side, have been trying to take advantage of that without spending a ton of money and buying packs and looking for a couple good plots of land at a good price. And the plots of land prices are coming down there. So I do agree with you. Gathering says, I just got addicted to playing Stone Shard, so I'm playing less Splinterlands. Yeah, I'm going to go look at that video. I saw you had dropped it. I just did not have time yesterday to go watch it. I'm always interested in new games. I've been playing the new Diablo lately, a little bit at a time, doing like one dungeon a night. I don't have a lot of time to go ahead and just burn like several hours a day like I used to when I was younger. I'm trying to keep up with my videos. I have a new channel out dedicated towards actual physical TCGs, Magic the Gathering. I'm getting back into that because the new expansion at the end of the month, I almost said Forgotten Realms. That was last year, but I am interested in picking those up too. But the Lord of the Rings coming out, very much interested in that. And my my nephew got me back into kind of using Pokemon as an investment. I still love playing Magic the Gathering much more than Pokemon, but I can see where the investment is there. So been getting into both of those sets. So I started a new channel. Check out the links in my, if you're interested in physical TCGs, that is. I'm going to start doing pack openings and look at the new sets and things of that nature. Let's see. Gathering goes on to say, people always sell into fear and buy on hype. That is why most people don't get the returns they want. Need to stay the course. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's buy something, let it sit, and let it ride. That's always been mine. And it goes to that mindset of almost like a stock market penny trader or day trader, that kind of thing. Buy, watch for it to go up like X percentage and then sell off. That's just not me. I mean, that's fine. I mean, everybody has to have a plan. Any kind of investment plan starts with knowing when you're getting in and knowing how long you want to stay and when you want to get out. So I'm going into physical card investing because it's been proven that you can make a little bit of money buying and selling like booster card boxes and stuff like that. The same thing can apply in Splinterlands. It's just I have not put I think you have to pick where you want to put your time and how you draw value out of the game. Some people love to do that. I'll give you an example. Early on in World of Warcraft, I loved sitting there and going through the auction house and buying stuff and reselling it at a percentage profit. And that's not even real money. That's just fake in-game money. I love doing that. You could theoretically do that same thing here in Splinterlands, and I'm sure that people have bots built to do that same thing. Buy cards, reprice it at like plus 10% or whatever, resell them, and just keep going like that. And I'm sure there's lots of people made lots of money that way. So that's just not me, and that's not how I choose to spend my time. Supreme says they're dumping them and we don't even know what's in the pack yet. Correct? Wibble says, wee, as usual. Hey, Wibble, thanks for stopping by. The Chuny says, I think the team has put this game in a holding pattern and we have to hold on and hope the company stays in business until the next bull run. It's risk reward at this point. I agree. I think my major point, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody besides myself, right? But I'm in the game. I'm not selling off. I have always been very clear. I like the idea of playing land, so I'm still moving in that direction. I need to pick up one more plot of land in 133, and there's one person that started selling some that looked pretty juicy in 133 with the building in the box on them. So I might take advantage of that if the price goes down just a little bit more. I think we've started to see the prices go down on individual plots of land. Like I don't want to be that guy who said, well, I forecasted, but I kind of see where the game is going. And I do agree that it seems like there's a lull going on. And I think that's a combination of factors, right? Because what's going on here in the States, people are waiting to see what happens to, what the government is doing with with cryptocurrency and things like that. And I think with what the team is doing and their situation, I think they're between a rock and a hard place. It's a tough market to be in, and it's tough from a development standpoint because you got developers, you've got artists, everything. You've got a whole team. They laid off a bunch of people at the end of the year last year. And you just have to keep these cycles going of development. And at the same time, a lot of this stuff is not extremely exciting to put information out. People want exciting information to get people hyped. You know, everything rolls on the hype. You know, they love it when he gets on there and starts hyping, oh, new packs and this stuff. It's clear. I mean, to come out with a new set of cards, it just takes a lot of man hours and just to make it, to test it and everything. And they can't just have with this small, you know, I'm not even sure what size their team is, but it's half or less the size of what it was last year, you know. So I do agree that it's kind of in a lull pattern right now, and people are waiting to see what the next big move is. I think people are waiting, I don't know. I can't say for people. I can say for myself, I'm waiting for 1.5, right? I'm waiting for land 1.5 to drop so I can go ahead and get my lands in action, get my cards staked, see where the game's going as far as, hey, how much grain do I need on a daily basis, and this and that. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for that for a while. I've really stopped putting money into purchasing cards specifically for playing the game. I have rented some out, and I've been shifting some cards around and opening a few packs for my secondary account because I'm trying to strengthen it up because it's in a guild now. And by the way, I did terrible in this last brawl because Quora, I think that Quora has been like, you know, this is like a side tangent kind of rant. Love her when you got her, but it's like every match, especially in bronze and silver, Quora, Quora, Quora. And if you don't have Quora, you lose. It's like a win button. Side tangent. Now, trying to catch up here. Chooney says, Diablo 4 is awesome. Are you in a clan? I am not in a clan. I have been enjoying Diablo 4. I think it's a good addition to the series so far. I've gotten through Act 1. Started in Act 2, but what I did was I wanted to go back, and I've done all the side quests within Act 1. I guess you could call me a completionist, but I'm not one of those hardcore guys that wants to make sure I 100% everything. But what I'm doing now is I'm going back and making sure I do every single dungeon in the Act 1 area before I roll on to Act 2. Now, one thing, kind of side effect, and people who don't play Diablo 4 might not be interested in, one thing that I don't like is the fact that you have to wait until you get into Act 4 to get your mount. Here's me doing a bunch of running around when I could have had my mount. Just kind of side rant. But Chooney says, cannot wait for Bethesda Starfield next. I will have to look that up. Not up on what Starfield is. The name is familiar. Don't know any specifics. Rolling on, Supreme Victory Network says, yeah, I started buying Pokemon cards again. Yeah, it's one of those things, right? I've never really been extremely into Pokemon, but I've always been into Magic. And it's been one of those things that has come and gone. I was originally in the early 90s. I got in during Revised and rolled on for several years. I had thousands and thousands of cards. I sold it in all, you know, standard story. I shouldn't have sold my collection with my Mox and Lotuses and stuff, or one Lotus, several Moxes, but I shouldn't have sold my collection. And now at this point, what's really gotten me back in is the new Lord of the Rings expansion at the end of the month. But my brother and his son are really into Pokemon, so I've been getting into that as well. So that's the short story there. Gathering says some land is down to $35. Yeah, I've seen that, and I've got my eye on some of those in 133. Let's jump over there. Well, we were looking at this. I think a lot of people, just to sum this up, if you've looked at this information, you probably know battles, transactions way down over the last 6 months. And I think this really has to do with the bots. I mean, what they're doing is actually working. The bots are leaving the game and or transferring over to Wild, and that's having a lot of repercussions on the game as far as financial. So I think everybody knows that by this point if you play on a daily basis. The market cap's going down a little bit. The market's going down. This is nothing new. If you play on a daily basis, you know what's been happening in the game. So we can go ahead and switch over to, I guess my point was looking at land. Look, Gene Pool's selling off a bunch of plots. Look at this. Look at that. $40 with building in a box and unstable totem. Looks like he wants to get out of the San region 98 or whatever you call it. Look at that. He is dumping hard. Look at that. Sorry, side tangent. I was just amazed. I did not think I would see Gene Pool dumping. Look at all that. Wow. Yeah, like I said, you just got to, and look at this. He's getting out of this area too. Going back to my point, maybe I made it last week or the week before, is I think a lot of these guys, Gene Pool's a big guy, right, in the game. I think a lot of these people that bought these large amounts of areas were, and this is just my guess, if anybody knows Gene Pool, you can make a statement on this, but I think maybe they underestimated how much it would cost to run all these on a daily basis, and so they're keeping the better lands and then dumping off the commons. That's kind of what it looks like to me. But if you're looking for some plains, you can pick up a good deal in San for $40 currently. Try to play catch up. The Chuny says BlackRock, largest 1A applied for Bitcoin spot ETF. That is big. Also, equity markets are hot. IPQ prices again. Equities have to heat up before altcoins will. Also, Binance and SEC are talking. I'm not a big finance guy, so I'll take your word for it. But like I said, I tell everybody, always do your own research before you invest money. That's all I can say. I never get on. Every time I do a video, I'm talking about cards. I'm always talking about the play value and not necessarily the prices and the possibility of earning money. And I'm not a finance guy to go to. Simon Hume, hey, thanks for stopping by. Says, I'm late as always. Well, we're rolling on. We'll be rolling on until the noontime hour or wherever you're at. It's 11:22 EST here, so got another more than half hour to go. And we were just talking about, Splinterlands, Splinterforge, Golem Overlord, Terracore. I'm playing Terracore now. If anybody's interested, we could talk about that. We've thrown in a little bit of Diablo talk there as well. The Chuny says, are you completing dungeons that do not even apply to your class? Why or why not? Seems like you want to focus on completing dungeons that have an aspect for your class. Okay, so some of the dungeons are class specific. You can't, as far as I know, you can't go in them because they say like, wizard only or necromancer only or something like that. I've thought that you can't go in those dungeons if you're not that particular class. I'm just trying to do all the dungeons because I look at a dungeon as a kind of like a one and done just to complete it, but it also gives me something. Most of the dungeons I've found take about 30 minutes to 40 minutes depending. I think as the game goes along, the dungeons get longer and longer. Some of them have been relatively short, but most of them are a 30 to 40 minute affair. I think it's nice. I can sit down after dinner, have 30 to 40 minutes in a dungeon, come out, you get that green check mark on the dungeon saying it's done, and then roll on to the next one. I do find that each dungeon will give you something usually worthwhile at the end when you fight the boss or whatever it is. Usually it yields something worthwhile to advance your character, as far as equipment goes. So that's the main thing. Wibble says, Gene Pool is dumping lots of everything. Yeah, we just looked at that. Look at all that. I'm not sure. It's definitely, he's dumping. Crypto Boggy has been dumping for a while. This is a new name that I'm not aware of. This person, Cluyo, is dumping as well. Not familiar with that name, but looks like they're getting. I just hope that. Look at all these people dumping. See, Ravenwood, this is where I want to be in, and this is the lands that I was looking at. One of these, $45 with a building in a box. I really want a plains for growing grain, but I'm not certain if there's many plains in 133. So I might have to settle for a river or something like that. But this attracted my eye as the price is pretty low. I just had, and Kush has been dumping for a while, but I keep my eye on this. I look at this list like once a day, and I just hope that we need good continued support of the land game for the land game to be viable. We need, I mentioned this in a video before, you need to be in areas where there's good support. In other words, I equate it to living in a low rent neighborhood here in the States versus living in a nicer neighborhood. You kind of want to live in the nicer neighborhood because you've got a person that's upkeeping the castle and the keep, and the region is doing good, versus buying the El Cheapo cheapest plots and being in a neighborhood where people are just buying and flipping plots, and you're not making, it's not doing as well as it could be. So it's another way to look at it. You can't just necessarily buy the cheapest plot of land and go with it, in my opinion. The Toonie says, bots did not really leave. More players bought tokens, XBot tokens, so we actually, percentage-wise, have more bots than ever. Thus, we have ROI as a focus now. If there are more bots than ever, why are the amount of... wrong page. Why are, I guess the amount of transactions are staying. The transactions have went way down. So, okay, so if you're saying the amount of bots are still here, why such a decrease in transactions from January to now? We literally have a quarter the amount of transactions. And same thing with battles. Look at battles. So that's where my guess that a lot of the bots have left. And my supposition was that a lot of the cards went down in price because a lot of the bot runners were selling off their cards. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But that's what my guess was based upon. Supreme Victory Network says he sold a bunch of Rooney, if not all. Rooney is not something I have been really interested in because I try to stay away from the Ethereum network. I saw the prices involved and I was just like, no. Every time I deal with the Ethereum network, it just costs so much to do anything. And two, this might be a hot take, but the artwork is not for me. I thought the artwork was kind of not great. I understand how they did it and why they did it. But I just did not like the artwork. It did not enthuse me. It was way too expensive, and it was on the Ethereum network. Although I will say that they've done if you're into land, they've done a pretty good job of putting value into the Rooney, especially putting it towards the land. Wet my whistle there. Wibble says, yep, he's listed lots of summoners too. The attractive card prices have really got me wanting to, if you've watched my videos, you know the weak spot on my account is clearly my summoners. I need some of the better summoners. And I did take action last week, and I upped the level of one of my nicer summoners. Let's see. Let me go back and look so I can remember. Yeah, last week I increased my Grandmaster Wraith from 1 to 3. I guess he's helped out, but just looking at my battles, he's only played one out of the last 20 battles, and he lost. So the price, anyway, my point is the price is very attractive. It's just at this point, I'm kind of in a lull period. I'm not putting money towards cards right now. I'm kind of waiting for 1.5 to drop because I know that it will. I do have my DEC set aside for the 1.5, and I know there's going to be money involved in having to set your lands up, stake all the cards and everything. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm kind of saving my money towards that. The guild point change went into effect this week, so we did see that our guild's in a pretty good position as far as building. So I didn't have to put any towards that, but whenever the new buildings come out, we will be in a good status to a good position for me to put some points towards the new buildings, whatever they may be. But I'm just kind of in a lull, kind of a holding pattern, just waiting for a few, 1.5 basically. So let me try to catch up. Blabbering on. Let's see. Chooney says, rumors in Mav chat, Gene Pool leaving. Really? I'm not in Mav chat, so I don't keep up with that. That's amazing. I mean, he's always, for a long time, been a very big name, and not just in Splinterlands, but in several other games on the blockchain, right? So let's see here. Chooney goes on to say, do you play in-game in Diablo? What is the best part of Diablo in your opinion? No. Like I said, I've gotten through Act 1, and I'm more of a guy that instead of racing towards the end, I've done that in games, and that I just don't draw any value out of that. I draw value out of just kind of going through and completing everything as much as I can. I've got through Act 1. I'm concentrating on getting all the dungeons done in that area. I have done the first couple quests into Act 2 and got that area. I've also run around the map and opened up a lot of the map. I really wish I could have my mount because it would make easier going back and forth. But I'm having a good time. It's a different game than Diablo 3. I'm saying that it's more close to Diablo 2 than it is to Diablo 3. And I would say that while Diablo 3 was a game that I wouldn't have a problem a young kid playing, generally the dad comes out in me, and I would say that this game, Diablo 4, is probably not for, it's for older teenagers. I would consider it, the main gameplay and not so much, but the cutscenes can be brutal, and the storyline is pretty brutal. But I'm enjoying it. It's just a much darker take on Diablo than what 3 was. Okay, so Chooney also says, are you going to vote for Rift Watchers to be sold in DEC? Yeah, I think it's fine. I think they need to sell a bunch more Rift Watchers. I need some more Rift Watchers. My Rift Watchers cards are not that high level. And getting more on the market will bring the overall prices of the cards down a little bit, so I can afford to go ahead and up the level of my Rift Watcher cards. I need several of the cards. Specifically, I want to talk about, bear with me here, because I rented one that I want to talk about. Let me find it. No, not gold foils. Okay, this is the one I wanted to find out. I rented, it was suggested that I should rent this out. Alistios, shout out. I don't know if he's on today, but he suggested that I rent this, and I rented on both my accounts, and it's been worth it. So she's a strong call. I'm looking forward. I'm probably going to end up buying her, looking at the price, trying to get a decent deal. So this, you know what? She's very close to, if you do guild brawls, a really overpowered card in my opinion. But you gotta love her if you play her. No, she's epic. Here we go, Quora. Okay, so two very similar cards, 3 power or 2 powers. I kind of draw some tangents there. I think Quora is almost like an instant win button in bronze and silver. I played bronze on my new account, on my secondary account this week, as far as our guild brawls go, and I lost. I lost hardcore. And you know what? More than half of the battles was because they had Quoras. And my new, it's relatively new account did not have anything to combat her. So anyway, I was just making that comparison because she's very similar. Different powers, right? But we're looking at a dual attack character. Anyway, this is my card of the week. If you want to know, yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah, you need a high mana match to get her out there, but she's been working pretty well for me. Let's see here, and that was all back to Chuni's Riftwatcher comment. Alex says, I got Bloodstones today. Open a pack. Got 2 Legendary Gladius in it. Nice. It's been a long time since I got any Legendary Gladius cards. Gathering says, I would vote on Riftwatchers for $5 in DEC, not 5,000 DEC. Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I've had that point brought up by other subscribers, and I agree with it, that some of these values should be based on whatever, the US dollar equivalent is, and not the EC. That's a better way to base on it. So maybe at a certain point it's 5,000 DEC. Maybe right now that equates to 7,000 DEC, whatever. It should be based on a set US dollar value that fluctuates depending upon where the market is versus just, how many DEC. Thanks everybody for dropping by. I do appreciate it. If you have any ideas or you want to talk about something, go ahead and put it in chat. I appreciate everybody being very vocal. We're at a kind of a, I hesitate to say stagnant period in Splinterlands because they're doing lots of work in the background. I think just a lot of people are like me and check my mic because I spun it around on accident. Are waiting for 1.5 to come out to make further actions, maybe. Okay, so Chuni says, percentage-wise, more bots, not in number. Okay. I'll take a look at that. I'll think about that. That's kind of one of those things I have to think about for a few minutes. Wibble says, we've gone from large bot farms to lots of single players running bots. Yeah, I think that maybe my supposition would be that there's a lot of people like me. In other words, I started playing Splinterlands back in the day. It's been I've been playing almost 2.5 years now, right? And I like the idea of playing against people, and I love the game. But as time went along, they continually said and emphasized that there would always be bots. And I got to the point, I played like 6 months where I did all manual and everything. I got to the point where I'm like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm sure lots of you have heard me say this before, so I started and I got in to using Archmage, right? So I think there's a lot of people that are like that. I don't have an answer for it. I think my opinion is up front they should have just banned bots. But it's also my opinion that at the very beginning of the game, bot farms are what kept the game going because they bought all the spell books and such. But what was good up front has turned around to be a drain on the end. And we've been in this 2.5 year constant cycle of just trying to minimize the effect of bots. I don't think that... I like the changes they're going to make. In other words, making bots just in wild, so you can make that decision. Do you want to just play your hand and just being modern? I don't know how well that's going to work from a security point of view and being kind of in the in the software business. I know there's lots of angles to look at it, and that's why it's taken longer. And obviously, there's a lot of testing behind it. So I guess just like with every major change in the game we've seen, we're just going to have to roll with it, make some decisions. You've got some major decisions. You've probably seen a few of my videos where I'm trying to decide what is my way forward with my 2 accounts. And there's been some major changes I've made over the years to how my accounts are played. Obviously, we all want to have fun. Well, you know, I can't speak for everybody. I want to have fun playing card games. I want to also, I think most people want to feel that they're getting value out of their account and a percentage, like back to your point of ROI. We put so much money into this game that we want to feel like we're getting an ROI, even if it's, I don't know. I don't have an answer. Like I said, I'm not a financial guy. I just want to get a certain amount of ROI and enjoy the game, right? Let's see. Try to catch up. Chuni says, everyone is playing on an automated basis. Schnapoon just left. Yeah, I saw that. I saw him talking about that in chat. Because of that, although he implied SPS has lost so much value too and cannot live on income from playing. I've already said I've made nothing off the game. The game has just been a continual drain to my checkbook. But, you know, most games and hobbies are that way. You just have to draw value in another way. If you're getting value as far as trying to live your life or make profit off the game, I couldn't do that. I've never been in the position where I made money in this. I've bought and sold a few cards, but I've not made any profit off of it. So I would agree, at a certain point, if you're using this just primarily as a investment vehicle or a way to make your living, I wouldn't do it. I would rather go out and just get a regular job. But that's me. Let's see here. Chuni goes on to say, if you think the team has put a game in a holding pattern, then that is what you should do too. It's the equivalent of not fighting the FUD. Yeah, I agree. International Travel HD channel. Thanks for dropping by. Guten Tag. Alex says, I sold my Runemancer Flore. I use it in tournaments. Quora Tower's Head needs one more copy to level 2. I think Quora, 2 notes here. I think if you're in a guild, from my perspective, it is a good choice to have that as your banned card, because she is just, she's tough. I currently have her, I think, at level 2. And I'm surprised that she's epic and not legendary, because to me, she's stronger than a lot of the legendaries. Look at this. Okay, so I have level 2, working on level 3. Obviously, with the drop rate, who knows when I'm going to make level 3. But she's got healing and bloodlust with magic and melee, right? And a pretty decent speed as well, right there in the middle. Not extremely fast. Has good life. You can throw her up front and then back her up with a heal. She's got her own heal, backed up with another heal. It makes her really strong. So usually I throw in, not Soulbound, but I usually, sorry, this is just a side tangent, kind of a play type of thing. I'll usually throw her in with, okay, here it is, Goblin Psychic, right? Throw this heal back behind her somewhere. She's got her own heal. He heals her. He's got affliction as well. I think it's very strong combo. Obviously, you fill out the rest of the hand with some other good green cards, but I think it's almost got to an instant win. So the one, I think that if you can use her, if you've got enough mana in the match to use her if you've got her. 2, back her up with a good heal. And 3, I think that from a guild perspective, if you can do it, I think it's a good pick to put her on your banned list, right? So, Okay, so Chooney says, along the lines of the gene pool exit cannot burn part in Golem Overlord at the moment. Wonder if Golem Overlord declines if gene pool is leaving. Good point. You know, he's big in that game as well. Time will tell. Reminder: these games are not even close to decentralized. I understand. Some of these games, it only takes a couple big movements, some of the big guys to leave, and they crash, right? So I've not been putting a whole lot of money in Golem Overlord. I put in money at the very beginning, and we're playing along. You can see where I stand here. As always, I'm going in with a defensive and a faith build. That's where I've been putting all my points as they accrue. Lately, I've upped my bank, and my amount of scavenger golems is going up slowly. Nowhere near what the big time guys use right now. I'm getting close to level 10. So it's been going along, but my main point is I haven't been putting any big money in it. When I first started off, I put a little money in it, and it's just been rolling since then. Now, Terracore, if you haven't played, it was out before Golem Overlord. The games are both based on the same open source code. Yixen, who is the developer of Golem Overlord, is very big, if not the biggest player in Terracore as well. So if you haven't seen my videos on there, go back and watch it. I've been putting a little bit. I haven't been putting money into it, but I've been funneling things like some part over into some scrap, and here and there, like I sold off a little bit from Splinterforge to buy a little bit to up. But once again, I'm doing my defensive build here, but it's more of a mixed build because I'm also attacking. In this game, you can't, as far as I know, lose. Like in Golem Overlord, you can do an attack and it ends up costing you money, which is why I stopped attacking in Golem Overlord. In Terracore, you can do your attack and it takes the dodge percentage against your crit percentage and your damage, and you can earn less, but it's not going to end up costing you. You can almost like do an attack and you're trying to get the best value out of your attack because you only have so many attacks. They accrue every 4 hours. So that's in place, but you can't just like go and just like, you know, in Golem Overlord, I was doing an attack and I would lose more than I would gain, you know, so I stopped attacking. So let's see. Alex says Xbot is better. Yeah, I think you've said that before. And I do want to get in the position to get an Xbox token so that when the big changes happen, I might switch over and try Xbot versus Archmage. I have not been increasingly happy with Archmage as far as the performance lately. I think that, but this is not necessarily on the bot. It's just the fact that a lot of the bots are leaving and going to wild, and that's making the gameplay harder because there's just more physical minds, actual people playing. So that's a good thing to me. I think the game should be no bots. That's my opinion. If everybody gives their bots up, I'll give up my bots too. But I think side tangent. Anyway, we've talked about that enough. Let's see here. Chooney says there will always be bots is another way of saying we want ROI over gameplay. I wish I had picked up on that, but hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I agree. Alex says I get my ROI from my Tesla stock, not this game. Yeah, I mean that goes back to my opinion, or what I've said a number of times. I try to play the game, and obviously they've turned it. I want to make this statement right. It's always been partially about ROI, right? Because being a blockchain-based game based on cryptocurrency, it was originally billed as play to earn. I would argue that for me, it's just been pay to play and pay to pay more, you know? So let's see here. Alex says, let's see here. Buy land for 30. Yeah, I mean, the low price is attractive, but like I said, you've got to watch where you buy land, because I still think that having land in good areas where there are strong people owning the castles and keeps will pay dividend. In other words, maybe paying $50 for a plot next to in a good area is worth more, and you're going to reap more than buying a $30 plot out in the middle of somewhere where everybody's just dumping their plots, buying and selling, So that remains to be seen, future. Chuni says, another great Gladius card is Karato in the Dragon Splinter. Okay, let's take a look. Maybe. Let's do a reload. I think I know who you're talking about. Oh, now my match. Now my account's going to play a match. I think I know who you're talking about. We'll take a look here in a few minutes. Alex says you scared to attack and you're in my guild. I'm not scared to attack. It's just I've chosen not to attack because I make more not attacking. I've always been on a defensive build, right? It's always been farm. I think you really have to make that decision whether you want to be offensive or defensive. For me, in this game, it's just been a primary defensive build. I think that if you have more time to pay attention to it on a daily basis, you can go offensive, and it's a better choice. But once again, and he's fiddling with the numbers behind the scenes all the time, so I'm sure he'll improve it. And there's a lot of things coming towards the game now that, since his health issues have subsided, he's gotten through those, hopefully. That he's bringing a lot more to the game. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to NFTs and such, which are another big change and difference in Terracore. Whipple says, Golem Overlord changed. Don't think you can lose when you attack anymore. Interesting. I might have to go ahead and do some attacks this week and test that out, because I did not know that, Whipple. Thanks for bringing that up. Simon says, just started a second Terracore account, by the way. There's a 24-hour lock in after transferring equipment. Okay. A lot of these games are putting in these kind of time-based locks on account when you're changing accounts over, changing equipment over, changing cards over, because I think we've all seen that abused, especially in Splinterlands. That's why they put those blocks in. And a lot of the other games are seeing that same thing. They don't want you to be able to buy equipment and use it on multiple accounts and vice versa, like a card, same kind of thing. Alex says, or gold, I did Golem, hope it works out. In Golem Overlord, yeah. Chuni says, we'll be curious to see if Xbot support lasts given the token value declines, diminishing returns for Xbot. I don't know. It's always been one of those value propositions, pay up front, and then he's always said that there's not going to be like any extra fees and everything, but that leads you to wonder, how can you continue to support something? Obviously, you're depending upon people continuing to buy that token and not paying a monthly support. Alex says it will. He believes that the Xbot support will last. I have no opinion on that because, like I said, other than checking on the value and the price of it once in a while, I did see that they introduced a third type of Xbot. I continue to say Xbox for some reason. Xbot token. There's a third type one, a smaller one. So I think that I'll be interested in the middle level Xbot token for my secondary account to play. I was interested in, once the changeover happens and I shifted over to Wild, I might put that on an Xbot token and see how it performs. Wibble says they'll make a ton from Battle Helper in Modern. Yeah, and that goes back to, that's another side question, as if they allow battle helpers in Modern, right? Or do they consider that the bot? It technically is. It's just doing the work for you, and then you have to manually input it. So that's one of those things that I'm sure they're working on now that's making it take longer. Are they going to allow that? Because that bot will have to interface with the blockchain to help with those battles. And if they decide not to allow it, then they'll block that API call on the backside, right? So we'll just have to see. I haven't heard anything on it. Alex says, I know, check my deck out, Balsanga. I got a good blue, white, and some dragon decks. Other are okay in gold. Okay. Wilbur says, I played you earlier today, Alex, if you're not botting. Isn't that funny how we now have to clarify, well, it was me playing, or no, it was my bot playing. Web3, Chuny says, Web3 is play to earn, and denying the earn part is short-sighted. Wait till games are developed on the BTC Lightning Network. Bitcoin is generally more desirable than alts. I agree with that. You should do content on those. Might be worth looking into. I'm not up on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. I do know from working with the various coins in the past that these games do have to build a side chain, because you can't be doing all these all the action on the blockchain that it takes to have a game function can't be done on a main blockchain like the Bitcoin chain or the Ethereum chain. It's just too cumbersome, and it would be too expensive. Kind of side comment, there are some other games that run on the Ethereum blockchain, which I really liked the look of, but I didn't get into because they were on the Ethereum blockchain. It was too expensive. Side comment, though. Chuny says, at Wibble, if it gets too expensive, then in my opinion, no. Pay more DEC than what you earn in SPS DEC market cap, flipped SPS market cap, thinking about ROI perspective. Wibble says, makes sense, Mr. President. Guess that's why they launched the new token with a revenue share like Archmage, yeah. That Chuny says, at Wibble agrees, Prol, that's why I am president. LOL. Glad to see you're still around. And Alex says, my bot, if ranked I. Did I win? Oh, they're talking about playing. So Alex and Wibble are just going to do some battles, do some challenges. So we're getting to the top of the hour. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. I just want to kind of plug my second account. Once again, if you're interested in actual card games, TCGs, mostly Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, please check out my secondary account. I've put the links in my last few videos. So with that said, thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate everybody's time. And give it a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And have a great the rest of your weekend. And this has been Bronze Dragon, and I will see you on the flip side.